Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about loofah sponges. You've probably all seen one of these little guys. When I was little, I always thought this was something that grew in the ocean. It looked just like a little piece of little plant from the ocean. But the truth is, these actually grow on a vine in your garden. You can eat this before it turns into this. Some people have called this a loofah squash, a loofah gourd. Some people just say a loofah sponge. I've always just called them loofah sponges since I found out that they grew. They basically look like a squash, or they look like a zucchini when they're growing. They grow on a vine, kind of like a cucumber. So when you plant this, you want to have a lot of space for it to climb up on a wall, to come down. They like to hang, so when they're growing, they kind of like hang down like this. This one has already been dried and cleaned. This one's ready to go into the shower or into the dishwasher, however you want to use it. But when they first grow, they look kind of like this. This is one that hasn't been picked. See, they just hang on the vine like this. So they like a spot where they can hang. These ones are dry. These ones I grew last year. There's a little spot on the bottom where all the seeds come out. So yeah, they're good and dry. And these actually, you want them to dry right on the vine. That's how you know when they're ready. If you wanted to eat this, which some people do, you could pick it while it's still green. And then, like I said, you cut it up. It tastes kind of like a zucchini. I usually just do them like this. They come in all different sizes. Here's a really big one. So you can see that there's quite a difference. This one here was actually, I didn't cut it. It was actually this size when it was growing. So yeah, they're kind of fun. I've seen even bigger than this. You could actually do this one and cut it up into 3 or 4 sponges if you want. But for me, it's kind of fun. Just take this whole thing after it's cleaned and after it's peeled into the shower, and then you have a giant sponge. So yeah, these, like I said, these are a couple from last year. Here's kind of a small one. This was a little tiny one, so that'll make a little fun hand sponge. Yeah, there's actually the seeds. You shake them like this and the seeds come out the bottom. There's one seed. I kind of cleaned out the seeds, but they're these little black seeds like that. So that's what we're going to plant today. I'm going to show you kind of how to plant those. And it's a little bit late in the season. These, usually I try to get them in the beginning of February. They take about 6 weeks to germinate. Here in California, in Southern California, the growing season is okay for these. They take about 90 to 100 days to be ready to fully mature. If it's before that, you won't get them looking like this. If it's somewhere that frosts or freezes, the frost will kill the vine. It'll also turn these things into slime if they freeze. So like I say here, it works perfect. They like full sun, damp soil, a good composted soil. I use just like a premix thing. I'm going to put these in pots this time, and I'm going to experiment putting them up onto like a trellis thing to climb. But I've had them growing on fences. I've had them growing on this little guy behind me here. So yeah, so just different things. The way that you clean this up, it's kind of a fun thing to do. You let them dry out, get all the seeds out, and then all you have to do is you have to soak that in water. I'll show you in a minute here what that's like, but basically you just soak them in water and you peel them and out pops a sponge. So we'll take a look at that before we get into planting them. We'll take a look, we'll clean up a couple of them. Again, these ones have been drying for a while. I mean, since last year, for about 4 months they've been just drying out. So, but it doesn't take that long for them to dry. They'll basically dry right on the vine. You can throw them in some water and peel them, then you have a sponge. You don't even really need water. Putting some water on them, I soak them in water a little bit and the skin just peels right off. If you didn't do that, we'll try it and I'll show you can do it either way. So let's take a look at the sponges. Okay, so like I said, these ones, I started soaking them. You just put them basically into a bucket of water. This is the skin already starting to come off. I soaked a couple of them in here. And then these are the ones, these are some dry ones. So we'll take a look at the difference on how they peel in a second here. But let me show you how easy this is. If you have been soaking one, all you do is you can basically just go like this and it comes off. There's your sponge. So you can put your finger right in here, it pulls off, and boom. There's your sponge. So that's how quick and easy they peel once they're a little bit soaked. See, there's a seed that popped out. But yeah, now this, I like to just rinse them out a little bit because they are a little bit slimy at first. But yeah, this stuff is very fibrous. I mean, it's basically a loofah sponge right there. It's a good one. You'll pay, for a little piece like this, you'll pay $7, or sometimes in the health and beauty place they'll have them. But so this right here, it's like a $15 sponge. So it's a little more cost effective just to grow your own, and it's fun, and I'll, you know, just kind of cool. So I'm gonna do a couple more here since I had them soaking. As you can see, they're all different shapes, they're all different sizes, and they peel pretty easy. Again, give them a good rinse. Some people like to put a little bit of water later on with some bleach to kind of kill off anything. I figure since you're going to be using them usually with soap or something like that, I just kind of rinse them out. Some people go through, they'll put them in the washing machine, things like that, but again, I mean, it's basically just a clean sponge already. Let's see, so I'll finish these ones up. That's a nice big one. And again, you can see here, this one, I'm probably going to cut that off. It's very, very kind of flimsy on the end. That's because it just how it grew. So it becomes like a little bit gooey. This one in general isn't as fibrous as the other ones, but still a nice sponge. We'll cut that one out. And that right there is all the wrapper. That right there is all the peel. It comes right off. Alright, so let's get this out of the way. And I'll try one here that we didn't. It's dry. We didn't soak this one. You can kind of peel them. It's easier when they're like that. So you just kind of crack the skin and it just kind of peels off. See, it's not near as easy though. It's kind of more of a mess. See? Maybe I was wrong. I wouldn't, maybe I would just try and put them in the water. Let's try this. So I'll bring this back and just dip it in there, let it get soft for a second. Squeeze it up a little bit, and already that peel is already coming off. So it really doesn't take long. I pre-soaked those other ones for a couple minutes before I took it off, but already that stuff's coming off. So I guess my general consensus would be to do it with water. I've always done it with water. I heard you could do it without, but I think you should just put it in the water. It's a lot easier, a lot quicker. Yeah, so if you want some seeds, let me know. I'll send you some seeds. I got them from a loofah farm probably a couple years ago when I started growing them, and so I've just had seeds. But one loofah is going to give you, I don't know, 100 seeds. So there you are. That looks better. But yeah, one loofah will give you probably 100 seeds. And yeah, if you want a loofah sponge, if you want some seeds, let me know. I'll down in the bottom just send me a little message with your address and what you want or where you want me to send some, and I'll give you some seeds or a sponge or whatever like that. So as you can see, they're actually pretty easy. Now these ones are nice, dripping wet a little bit. Like I was saying, sometimes people will take a bucket of water like that and put a little bit of bleach into it, just to clean them up or kill anything that's in there. I guess I'm not that germophobic or whatever. I'll put some soap on them, I'll scrub them really good, rinse them out with some soap and water. I figure since you're using them, they dry out nice in between. Make sure if you use it in the shower that you have it in a spot where it'll dry out. The good thing about these is they're completely environmental friendly. You can just throw it into a composter if you want when you're done with it, or throw it in the trash. You could burn it. It's a vegetable. Use them for as long as you want. Sometimes I use them for a month, cut it up, throw it away. They'll last a long time. I've seen them. I had one that I used just to clean up in the garage and things like that for a little bit, probably a year old, and they just get smaller and smaller and more compact, but they still last. So that was my experiment to see how long they last. But in the shower, you probably don't want to use it more than a month. I don't know what'll grow in there. Probably nothing, but you might as well. You're going to get a bunch of these from one plant. So with one seed, you get one vine, and you'll probably get 10 of these on there. So all it takes is one seed, one plant, and you'll have a million seeds, which you can give out to your friends and everyone. You can give them as gifts. You can make little stocking stuffers, whatever. Give these to people you know. Again, if you want a seed, if you want a sponge, if you want something like that, go ahead and leave me a message down below, and I'll send you some seeds. So I'll send you some seeds. I can send you a sponge, either way. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna plant some of these plants today. I actually started soaking some seeds. They say to soak them for about 24 hours before. You'll notice when you put the seeds in the water, though, they really don't soak in. I have some seeds in here that have been soaking, and they're basically dry seeds. So I soaked a couple of them in here. I don't know how crucial that is. Some people say it softens the skin of the seed by soaking in the water. This seed, I don't know how accurate that is. For me, I usually soak them for a little while. I'll get my dirt ready, and I usually put them in the big pots. I try, if you grow them in the ground, it's fine. They like a lot of compost, so if your soil's not good, you don't want to put it into a place where you got just dead dry soil, because it's not going to grow. So I figure in a pot it works better. I can put in this compost soil, compost mix, and for one season it's perfect. I can move them around a little bit while they're growing, and then once I get them established and they start to grow, then I can set up a trellis behind them, let them climb for the summer and into the fall. And again, I'll do a video later on, probably not right now because it's early, but I'll do a video that shows you as they're growing, what they look like and things like that. Again, I'm a little bit late. It's the middle of February, and usually I'll put them in the pots probably in January, because here in Southern California by February they should already be started. There's no frost, so it'd be okay. Just would give them a longer growing season. These will probably sprout by mid-March, toward the end of March, which should be fine. That gives me April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Gives me about 7 months. So that's, it needs about 90 to 100 days to mature. But if you have 150 days, that's perfect. Then you get these really big ones. But yeah, you're gonna get all sorts of sizes, all sorts of shapes. It's fun. People will ask about it. What is this? And you can tell them I'm growing sponges. And then go into the whole story about it. If you wanna look online, you can Google Luffa sponge, Luffa gourd, Luffa squash. Those are different things that will pull up information on it. It's a fun thing to grow. People ask questions. Not everybody grows it, but it's a really easy thing to grow. So that being said, I'm going to set up a little thing here, and we're going to plant a couple of them, and I'll get some into the ground, so hopefully we can see what goes on by the end of the year. Okay, so we're going to get started putting the seeds in here. A good thing might be to use, these are some of the shells, some of the skins from the previous ones. That's a good idea to use here. We'll throw a couple like that over top of the hole there. Some people will put little pieces of rock or little pieces of clay from another pot. But I think we'll use this. So that's good. Just to kind of plug the hole up a little bit. Perfect. And again, I'm just using Miracle-Gro soil. And I'm using kind of a big pot. There we go. I'm using a bigger pot because I'm putting, I'm going to do 4 plants in each of these, I think. So this is just a nice composted soil. So these are seeds that I took from last year. So see how many I have? And I didn't even keep a lot of them. So these, you'll get a ton of seeds. A lot of seeds. So, and they say that you want to soak the seeds for 24 hours. I don't know about 24 hours. These have been soaking for 2 hours, 3 hours, and they're not even wet. I mean, they're not even soaking in any of the water. So I usually don't soak them. I was going to do it for the video here, but it really just, they look dry to me. They're not really absorbing any water. So again, it's up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plant 4 of them. So I'm actually going to put 6 holes. And I'm going to save the strongest 4. So just put 1 seed per hole. And we'll hope for the best. And I think if you plant them down, about 1 inch or so, they say, that should be fine. And then wait, takes about six weeks or so for them to germinate. So I'm just going to tamp that down. And I made 1 more pot, so I'm going to have 2 pots with like 4 plants each. So we'll do that. And again, I'm going to, I guess, take 6 seeds. And we'll see the strongest ones that we get. And I'm just gonna, whoa, that was a little much. I'm just gonna give a little bit of water to soak the soil down, to set the seeds in there. And I'll do this one also. So now that we got these planted, here's our pots. They're nice sized pots. They're probably a 3-gallon pot or whatever. I'm just gonna monitor those. About 6 weeks or so it should take for those to germinate. I'll do a couple videos just to kind of follow up and see how they're going. When they sprout, I'll show you that. I'll show you as they get a little bit bigger. These ones I'm gonna leave in the pot here. They don't transplant very well. There's some plants that really don't like to be transplanted. These ones tend, I have transplanted them before. They don't do very well. They don't like their roots jostled around too much. So I've found if I use a bigger pot like this, the roots can get big enough to give you a nice plant. We'll see how this goes, about 6 weeks or so. I'll give you an update when they start to sprout, and we'll follow along through the summer. I'll show you what they look like while they're growing. We might even try and eat one, cook it up. I'm not sure. I'll find some recipes for it, or we'll take a look at that and see how that goes. But yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And if you have anything in the comments, you have ideas for me, or things that I can do different, let me know. We'll see you back again for the next video. All right, take care, guys.